And so it begins, the Judas Contract story arc in the Young Justice universe, as we finally see Princess Tara, who is indeed working for Slade as a mole, bringing huge despair to it all. This is Tara's character we're talking about. Tara's character has always been questionable, to say the least. I mean, in the comic books, she was. I'm still pretty pissed off that in the comic books, she was a sociopath. I still have no idea how the comic book Garfield fell in love with her and believed in her so much. So the biggest question is here, what kind of personality does this Tara have? I have a very big feeling, also a sociopathic one, because she seems so good at playing the mole that it's very likely that she is detached from emotion. Given what has happened here, well, we'll see. Either way, in this team, Grayson's operatives, the outsiders that have yet been called, has is crashing an auction that is showing enslaved meta-humans training, or I mean, playing games. Also, is the fact that the bystanders wear masks that are clearly based on the Court of Owls, and even the announcer that seems to be so very bombastic and uh, talking very big. Actually, I wonder, he reminds me a lot of the Joker, although I don't think that's his voice actor. So I mean, in Young Justice, so maybe it's not the Joker. He's just a little bit bombastic. Also, is the fact that this auction has bodyguards made by Simon Devastation Icicle Jr., who, by the way, is actually, I don't want to say he is chill with Superboy. And no, that was not intended to be a bad pun. I was actually saying that because they have a little fight here where Icicle Jr. is still a little crossed about, the shape-shifting abilities and the fact that he fell for Megan first, but still congratulates Superboy for being engaged to Megan. But Mammoth and Shimmer are still here, still being their silent selves and still not really putting up much of a fight. However, Devastation is worth noting. She calls Simon my darling here. And if you all recall from, 2 years ago in the universe, from the, invasion storyline, Devastation was surprisingly attached to Simon. Did Simon finally well, not really finally. I mean, yes, Devastation is sexy in her own way, although she doesn't. I was actually surprised she didn't really look that much feminine. But what I'm more is the fact that Simon was kind of freaked out by Devastation's attachments. So, is that just Devastation talking, or is it really that? Because the team has managed to pull many things together from the many different operatives, including Batman, who, as you know, is trading information together with the Nightwing and the others about hearing the name Markov, as well as the Granny Gutchen situation. Now that Bruce Wayne know that Granny Gutchen is not so very good, isn't it possible that they can begin to pull up a plan to, well, expose her? And they managed to track down the evidence that Tara is in this auction, and indeed she is in this auction, wielding a very pretty cool night suit, and actually still seems to remember Brion as they manage to rescue her, and she tells she knows what happened to their parents. As the team managed to fight off the enemy scale, the episode ends in despair though, as during the night Tara texts a message, and who is the one who gets the message? Well, none other than Deathstroke, saying, "I'm in." As we all know, Granny Gutchen once said, "We'll deal with these naughty children when the time comes." And indeed, it seems like they will. Because it turns out that in the end, we're going to have a Judas contract still. The Judas contract is very popular for it introduced Tara. But Tara was a jerk, and in the end, it also turns out that Tara was a mole. But in the comics, she was a sociopath. And there have been many Tara's storyline ever since. Mostly they paint her more in a sympathetic light, but she always betrays the team. Even in that 52 movie, The Judas Contract, it is only slightly played more sympathetic than before, although she still every time dies. So my question is, what is this storyline gonna be? Is she a sociopath? Is she an unwitting pawn? Or is it something more? I mean, given to the fact that she played so happy to see Brienne, it's very reminiscing of a sociopath. And don't let's not forget, she was trained by the League of Shadow, although Cassandra Savage did say she was fond of her. And the League of Shadows are very famous for breaking, and not to mention the fact that she killed that scummy man with Terra-like abilities, showing that she has no disregard for pulling it all. Not to mention, she was taken from her parents, and the fact that they took her from her parents and her parents never found her again is very reminiscing of someone who will fall into despair and then become very evil. So, I mean, yes, it was a great episode with some nice callbacks and all that stuff, but that ending is pretty sad. However, there's a separate storyline in this situation of Victor finally getting completely cleansed by Father Bucks's technology, because Halo cannot completely use her powers anymore. Given to the fact that she now is revealed to be a Mother Box soul inside a human body, puts her emotions in question, and I think she fails to understand the power. But Father Box takes over again, and it begins rampage around the house, all the while mocking Mother Box. But it's not until that the Mother Box and uh, so Halo, well, they have always worked together, but now actually begins to admit that yes, I am a Mother Box, but I'm also now a human being, because Mother Box is a tool of good, but also it's worth noting that she still doesn't really had emotions and hunger until now, but now she decides to embrace it because that's what a Mother Box does, cleanse evil things. So she uses a more powerful incantation and finally managed to purge the Father Box influence completely from Victor's body. Now is the question though, is he gonna join the team? Because at the end of it all, Nightwing says they may be ready for the team. And what is that team? The Outsiders or another team? But as I said before, Tara is a mole. The Light is still one step ahead, even though I wonder if they really do know that Granny Gretchen is who she really is. Either way, a very good storyline with a very modest thing. Maybe this was the best episode of the four different. But you can give me your thoughts if you have any.